and welcome back to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT. We're the quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. Really excited to be hosting this podcast today out of a different space than you may be accustomed to. We're on the move, as we say, and we're broadcasting live out of CoMotion Miami 2026. So CoMotion, again, is that annual conference hosted here at Miami-Dade College. Just dated myself, almost called them Miami-Dade Community College. And this is now, I believe, the 7th year of this conference. And I'm really excited to have the founder, the CEO, the guru, the godfather of CoMotion as my guest here today, John Rossant. John, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Javier. It's really great to be back with you on Mobility Matters. It's a feature of CoMotion every year.
It is. And am I correct that it's the 7th year you've done this? That's incredible.
It's the 7th year, yeah. We had, I think, the COVID year, but we still held it in Miami.
That's right.
It was just a sort of somewhat reduced edition. Remember that was when we had Secretary Buttigieg
That's right.
Here virtually from Washington, so that was quite exciting.
Now, for the uninitiated or those living under a rock, what is CoMotion?
CoMotion was founded around 10 years ago in Los Angeles originally, but 7 years ago, we moved also to Miami. And our mission is to bring together leaders from the public sector and the private sector to talk about how to ensure a future of safe, efficient, multimodal mobility in cities in the future. You know, cities really are a representation of how you move around them. And it's, New York, can you think of New York without the New York subway, or Paris without the metro, or London without double-decker buses and black cabs? Cities are really defined by the conveyances that move people and goods around. And we're in the middle of an extraordinary revolution in the way people and goods move. It's being electrified. We have software-defined vehicles. Artificial intelligence is really becoming front and center in how you organize mobility. So we're very happy that actually the big theme of this year here in Miami is mobility in the age of AI.
Wow. And so certainly something like CoMotion makes a lot of sense. Why Miami?
Miami was, again, we were founded in LA.
Yeah.
It's, the world's largest car city. It's where kind of car culture was invented. And we felt that if Los Angeles could move, any city in the world could actually hope for a better future in terms of reducing, single car mobility, et cetera. But Miami, we were drawn here at the time because, frankly, there was so much effervescence, and there is a continuing amount of effervescence in Latin American cities. And Miami, of course, is the capital of Latin America. And a lot of European companies in particular that are in the CoMotion network felt that, LA is kind of far. Miami is really kind of the great entryway into Bogota, Buenos Aires, Quito, Rio, et cetera. And so we started with that idea. And also, if you remember 7 years ago, you had, for example, Senator Landis at the time, very active in making Florida legislation on autonomous mobility, probably the most advanced in the nation. So we felt it was a really good place to put a stake in the sand. And then, of course, kind of COVID happened, and Miami really took off, and it's continuing to take off.
Very open compared to many other places.
Very open, but open, economically, open in spirit, and it's a place where you just feel innovation is built into the kind of fabric of the city. So it's a wonderful place for us to be.
So you've now come back 7 years in a row. How has Miami changed, do you believe, in those 7 years from the time you started to now? Have you seen a lot of progress? Have we maybe perhaps taken some steps back? Like, what? I'm curious, as a bit of an outsider, who only kind of sees us, on occasion. sometimes when we live it day to day, it's hard for us to see the changes. But I'm curious as to your perspective. How are we doing?
I think doing well. I wouldn't say doing fantastically well. I mean, I think traffic and congestion is still a huge problem in the city. It's a very, somewhat like Los Angeles, it's a very difficult urban structure. You have
Built around the car. Yeah.
It's built around the car. You have different cities within the county. The good coming from Los Angeles, the very positive thing about this region is that you have a very strong county and a big budget. We have a strong county in Los Angeles, but we also have many, many more municipalities that are kind of weak. So jurisdictionally, it's much more complicated in Los Angeles. Here, it's more direct, frankly. But similar.
That's surprising to hear because I feel like it's plenty complicated here.
But the other thing about Miami is, it's a very complicated topography, and you have, Biscayne Bay, you have causeways, and it's not always easy to get around.
Right.
So that's another issue that makes it more interesting. And you also have, the possibility of using maritime to move around the city. So, for example, some of the companies here during CoMotion, like Regent sea gliders, electric sea gliders.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Very cool. That in a very near future will take you from, just you walk a few blocks, you get on one of these things, and in a half an hour, or 45 minutes, you're in Palm Beach or in the Bahamas. It's done in a very sustainable way, et cetera. I mean, that is the future.
Which is key. I think the challenge with waterborne transportation has always been our manatee protection zone, right?
That is
boats
true.
can only go so fast, but if you could glide over the water, that
exactly
solves that problem.
That can be a game changer. And then you also have the advent of other kinds of advanced air mobility options like Joby and Archer and other manufacturers of electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, and that's coming very, very soon. So we'll have around this urban region here in Miami-Dade various vertiports where you'll go, and if you have to, you might have a lunch in Key West. So instead of schlepping down there by car,
a happy hour, I think, is what I'm going for.
Or a happy hour, I guess that would be more appropriate. It'll take you sort of 20 minutes. It's door to door almost. And it's done very sustainably. It's electric, very quiet. It's not like a big noisy helicopter. So those are all. It's the Jetsons are arriving finally.
So having been to every one of your 7 conferences, by the way, and they've all been
you deserve a medal,
and all a little different.
Yeah.
Each year you introduce like a new wrinkle or a new focus. You've done resiliency and other things in the past. So this year it's all about AI, as you referenced. So tell us a little bit more about that. But then there's also something else that's maybe kind of new to the agenda this year, which is, I guess, major events. So tell us about AI
mega events. Well, AI, I think, is dominating everything.
Sure.
And so, AI, when it sort of hits the road, is autonomous mobility. There's no purer expression of artificial intelligence on the road than an autonomous vehicle, whether it's a Waymo or a Zoox, both of which are represented here today.
Robot on wheels.
It's a robot on wheels. I mean, I came last night with a Waymo, and it's wonderful. It's just, no fuss, no worries. It's reasonable, and that is the future. And so we have to cities will have to determine what that future looks like exactly. Will it be a free-for-all of autonomous vehicles roaming around and clogging the streets? Or will it be something a little more ordered? Will it actually reduce traffic rather than increase it? That's a big consideration. So AI, very important. And it's not only autonomous vehicles, but it's how you organize the massive amount of data regarding mobility and transit.
And I should note, by the way, you've been holding this conference at the Miami-Dade College AI Center for several years. So it's no more appropriate place to talk about AI than here at Miami-Dade College. They're really leading the way on this.
They are. And it's very exciting to be here at the Wilson campus. You're absolutely right. Then the other big theme that's new this year, and that will is front and center here in Miami, as it will be in Los Angeles in November, is mega events and how you organize transportation for a mega event. Of course, we have the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup, starting in a few months. Miami is one of the host cities, obviously. There'll be a massive amount of fans to move around. There will be Miamians who may not go to a game, but have to go from point A to point B during the games. So how that is organized is really important. And it's of central importance also to what we do in Los Angeles, because we have also the World Cup in Los Angeles, as well as the Super Bowl next year, and in 2028, the LA Olympics. So it's a trifecta of mega events. And these are really important because I think Miami post-World Cup will be quite different from Miami pre-World Cup in terms of how people approach public transit, how they approach shared mobility, et cetera.
Yeah, it's an opportunity, right?
It is a huge opportunity.
Those who may not have been willing to try transit beforehand
yes,
are going to be incentivized to do so during these mega events. It might be the only way to get to a game or an event. And hopefully once they try it, they're more open to it. Right?
Yeah. But look, I think, Miami has made a huge amount of progress over recent years since we've been here. We see, bus rapid transit really taking off and helping to kind of knit together this very large city. So that's important. No, I think the team at the Miami-Dade Department of Transportation Public Works is really excellent.
Yeah, shout out Stacy Miller and team.
Stacy's doing a terrific job, and C3 is still there, hovering around. And Carlos was kind of instrumental in bringing CoMotion to Miami.
Yes.
That was many years ago. So
he was ahead of his time. He still is in many ways.
He is.
So you started in LA. You're here in Miami now for the 7th year. But you're also now increasingly in other parts of the globe. So So where are you off to next, and what are some of the things on the horizon?
We got an invitation about 2 or 3 years ago, kind of sort of out of the blue, from the Saudi Arabian government, asking us would we be interested in bringing CoMotion to Saudi Arabia, and we were immediately excited by that opportunity because for a variety of reasons. One, it's a massively expanding market, very open to new technologies. It's a big continental country. Riyadh has become a city of about 8.5 million people. It's a mega city. And the other thing, and they have the means to pay for interesting new cutting edge technology systems to change mobility. They just put in an 87 station metro system that is completely driverless. It's just wonderful, kind of air conditioned stations and designed by world-class architects, and it's become a huge hit. And it's actually reducing traffic congestion in that city already. But the other reason why Riyadh has become so exciting for us is that if you look at kind of new mobility around the world, the big new interesting players are from China. And it's hard for us as an American organization, whether it's here in Miami or in LA, to bring in the really cool Chinese players. But
even
Riyadh,
in LA. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just politically complicated.
Politically, that makes sense, sure.
So Riyadh is open to everyone.
Right.
And so, for example, Uber is experimenting an autonomous, a driverless vehicle initiative in Riyadh in a joint venture with a Chinese firm, which it would never do in the United States.
Sure.
So that would not be possible. So Riyadh is sort of open to everybody, and so we organized it last December. It was a big success. Now, of course, there's a little war going on in the region. So, but we'll be back surely next year. And it's good because it's also a way to bring Floridian players to the Middle East and to Asia and vice versa. So,
well, I hope that is, and I'm sure it will be a huge success. But don't forget Miami. I want to continue to come back here year after year. As I've said, it's been great to have CoMotion here to influence our policies, to bring all these innovations and all these great speakers and companies to Miami.
Yeah.
We're learning a lot, and hopefully we'll be implementing a lot of those lessons here, and already are.
Yeah.
So thank you.
But thank you also, Javier, for the great work that you're doing, both at Mobility Matters and the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust. I mean, you play an absolutely vital role in this city, in this region.
Well, I appreciate that, John. We're going to have to end it there because there's nowhere where to go but down from there.
Okay.
And actually, that is all the time we have. But John, if people want to learn more about CoMotion, where should they go?
www.CoMotionGlobal.com.
Excellent. And there they can learn not only about Miami, but L.A.,
Riyadh, and elsewhere in the world. Yes.
Yeah. So you're going to be conquering the entire planet soon.
Okay.
Well, thank you again, John.
Thanks, Javier.
Thank you all for tuning in to Mobility Matters. You can learn more about the CITT at miamidade.gov/CITT. And please stay tuned. We have a number of amazing guests in the lineup here, both at CoMotion and following. So you can learn all about that on our website. In the meantime, keep moving, Miami.